Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to discuss game playing and uh, what it can tell about a person, okay? Because the way, believe it or not, game playing and playing games with other people can show you a lot about people's character and what they're like in real life, so if you ever get a chance, if you have a company and if you have employees, try to play a game because it will show you a lot about the other person or the other people that you have hired, and of course, as you know, one of the most important things in business, and if you have a company, is to hire the right people. Right, people are your resource, right? They're everything. They can make or break your company. Okay, and so of course, if you can, you have to hire the right people, right? And so there's that, right? And so but we in this particular video I want to discuss game playing, but also I will give you personal experience. I will tell you about a personal experience that I have had, where and the things that I've noticed. Okay, one of the experiences was when I first started out as a business developer in San Francisco, working in San Francisco as a business developer. Fancy schmancy name, right? It means nothing, to be honest with you. Okay, but it was my first job. It was something that I was very proud of, something that I was very much looking forward to starting. And also in reality, I really needed that job at the time because I just left, or as soon as I found that job, basically I was finally able to leave my abusive ex behind, so that job was, it meant a lot. In a sense, it meant my freedom, but little did I know that I was actually starting a job at a wrong company, at a company that was going to be just as toxic as my ex, and so I went from a narcissist to a narcissist in a sense, in that sense, only um, so there's that, right? But of course this video is not about this, right? This video is about game playing and the things that you can notice, right? When people are playing games, okay? And on your, even on your own team, if you're on a team, right? And that's another experience that I will discuss to you guys. I was also I was the fifth in the entire state of Florida, okay, for the mile run. Okay, and so the fifth place, as you know, is not easy to get, right? And so it's extremely difficult and it's challenging, and you have to work your booty off basically in order to get there, right? And so pretty much almost until all the way until states, right? I was always first, and so sometimes I had to race basically against myself, right? But there was also one race in particular that really was that um, that was very memorable for me, and I will tell you a little bit later on why that was. Okay, but yeah, I will also discuss my team, right? I will discuss my team and the things that I noticed about other people in relation to someone who is succeeding, someone who is successful, right? In any given field. It doesn't have to be running, as in my case, right, guys? But I will tell you what happened and the things that I observed and noticed, okay? So, of course, the things that you can tell from someone by playing a game with them, right, is that are they a sore loser, right? Or are they okay with you winning, and do they like support you and still cheer you on even if they lost, right? That can tell a lot about a person. Do they cheat, right? Or do they play fair? Are they willing to do whatever it takes to win? Uh, you know, um, do they want to win at all costs, even if it means leaving their team behind, right? And then do they help others that are behind, right? So, um, so yeah, guys, let's get back to San Francisco, right? And the things that I noticed when I started working for this company. Um, so, guys, we actually I remember we took a very nice boat ride. Okay, they had a party, and we took a really nice boat ride, and we had a party on the boat, right? And it was really nice. It was so memorable too for me, and it was at night too, in the evening, right? And I just got to see. We were on the bay, right? And we got to see. I got to see the entire San Francisco. It was like the palm of my hand. It was amazing, guys. It was really amazing. It was a memorable experience, the beauty of it all. But of course, I was very interested in terms of who I was working with, right? And so let's get back to the game playing, right? Before I started working at that company, I got a chance to see how my coworkers and my boss and even the board of directors were playing the game. And it was a scavenger hunt, guys, and we were split up into teams, okay? And unfortunately, this is what I noticed, okay? And that's what happened, okay? So the CEO pretty much ran off by himself, okay? He just ran off by himself, left everyone else behind. And I was like, wow, okay. So, in this sense, right, what can you assume about the CEO, right? It means that he's selfish, okay? It means that he doesn't care too much about anyone that's on his team. It means that he's just in it for himself, by himself. It means that he doesn't care to help other people that are on his team in his company. It means that he just wants to win, okay? And he doesn't care if it's with other people or by himself, right? It means that he cares about his own needs, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, and he doesn't care who he leaves behind, right? And so that's a really big red flag, right there, because he is the CEO. He should be the leader. He should wait for everyone else, right, and push other people, right? Good leaders push other people, even if they're weaker, right? And a good leader will not leave everyone else behind, especially if they're on his team, right? And so that was not there during the game, okay? Another thing, right, that I noticed is that the girl that was supposed to be training me, okay, she was also a business developer, but of course she had more experience, and she was extremely afraid of losing her job, okay? So when I came along, she was very threatened, and so she started bullying me, okay? And she was on my back the entire time. She would sit behind me and tell me to hurry up, or tell me that I'm doing this wrong, that I'm doing that wrong. So she would criticize me nonstop, and it was just a pain in the ass. To be honest with her, I almost told her to F off. I am surprised that I didn't, but like with my personality, like that's what I would do. That's why, I can't really work for a corporate world, okay? I don't fit in. I would just tell everyone to F off, basically. That's just the way that I am, like I don't put up with crap, basically. And especially if people are not being fair, if they don't treat others kindly, I'm not okay with that. Nowadays, I would do the same, but I would be a little bit more diplomatic about it, and you learn this, right? Um, but anyways, guys, what I noticed is that she was cheating. She was cheating during the game. Okay, so once again, it told me that I'm screwed pretty much, because she was willing to do whatever it take to win, basically, or to keep her position, right, and to keep everyone else from getting to that position, right, or higher, or So she was willing to do whatever it takes, even if it meant breaking the rules, basically, okay, or screwing someone, or throwing someone under the bus, okay. And so that game playing was very disappointing to me, to be honest with you guys, because I noticed so many different things. And unfortunately, I just got out of an abusive relationship. I had nothing. I had to leave with nothing, basically. I had to leave everything behind. I didn't even have a place to stay. Well, I did, right? But it was like, but by God's grace, someone was willing to provide that place for me for a little bit of time, right? So temporarily. And I just, yeah, if I left the job, I would have nothing, no money, nothing, basically. So I was stuck, it was my clue. Just watching them play that game was my clue to just leave that company. But I couldn't, so or at least in my head I couldn't do that, right? And so yeah, there's that, right? So another thing that I noticed, right, is the board of directors. He was completely left behind. All of the team members, right, except for me, I ran back to him and I kind of, tried to. He was an older gentleman, of course, much older. He was a grandpa, right? And I went back to him and I tried to kind of push him to come and to join us, right? But he was really, really behind. He was just completely behind, and everyone on our team just left him. And so once again, it told me that nobody really cared about, the weaker, right? And although he isn't technically weaker, right? He's the board of directors, right? But still, it showed me a lot about the company, right? And so they weren't willing to help someone in need, right? Someone like me, perhaps, right? Someone new. It was like kind of like a dog eat dog world in that specific environment, right? And so that was very very sad too. Just that realization alone made me like question everything and made me very upset, basically. So guys, after that game, I got very upset because I noticed those things and I was like, okay, I'm pretty much screwed if they're playing like this, right? Once again, they showed a lot of their own character during the game too, right? So there was that, right? But let's get back to some of the things that I learned also while I was on the track and field, right? I did track and field and I did cross country, guys, and I was the best on my team by far, right? So there was there wasn't a girl that was even close to me. I was like far ahead, like extremely ahead of all of our girls, right? Maybe by one lap, maybe 1.5 laps, right? So it was boring for me. Practices. The only reason why practices were a lot of fun was because my practices were a lot of fun is because I ran with the fastest guys. Okay, so I could still run with the fastest guys. At first, of course, when I started out, they didn't want me to run with them and they were like kind of like protesting a little bit, right? Not really protesting, but they were trying to run faster, like what is she doing, she's a girl, like, right? But then they got used to me running with them. And so yeah, they were our fastest guys. And guess what, by running with them I actually so that's another thing about real life that you can take, right? Like a lesson that you can learn here is that in order to get better, you have to have someone to push you. You have to have someone stronger, okay? So you have to be with someone stronger, like a mentor, right? Or someone who is just better than you at something that you want to do. This way you can learn from them. This way they can push you. If it wasn't for those guys that I decided to run with during practice, guys, I would have been a lot worse. I would have been a much worse runner because the guys were truly pushing me. They were faster than me, right? And I was always pushing myself to go faster, and eventually I did, right? And so, but sometimes I believe they were still faster than me a bit, right? And so but still, we more often than not we ran together, especially the distance runs, so uh yeah, they really pushed me, just by running with them I got better, I improved, right? And so there's that, right? In real life it's also the same. So let's see. Yeah, most people will hate on your success, right? But they don't want to do the work to get there. Guys, the girls on our team hated me, like couldn't stand my guts, right? And so that's because they were jealous. They were jealous, right? They wanted to have my spot, right? Basically. But they weren't willing to do the work, guys. And most I also observed the way that they practiced, right? The way that they practiced was they cut corners, right? More often than not, they would just do nothing during practice, right? Or they would just like, we would start out running and they would just stop and just walk. They would take shortcuts, right? Basically. So, and while I didn't, right? Sometimes I would wake up in the mornings, like I was crazy enough to do that before school. And I didn't do it too much, right? Too often, but I did this several times. But the point of the matter is that I was really willing to practice. I was willing to put in the extra effort to get better, to be better, to become better, right? To become the fastest runner. And I did, right? And so they hated me for it. But why? They could have done the same thing, right? Who knows? Maybe they could have gotten just as good, right? Although I believe it's genetics too. In running, there's genetics too, right? So that has to be considered. I believe you have to have the genes, and you have to have, of course, you have to practice, right? You have to practice your craft day in and day out, right? So I don't know if I don't believe that everyone can do uh, certain things and they can all be good at it, okay, even with practice. I believe genetics still has something to do with it, okay, but self-belief, right, is extremely powerful too, okay, so there's that, right, and so never underestimate the power of self-belief, you know um, um let's see. Yeah, so you have to find someone at your level, right? When you reach a certain level of success, be it in your work, be it in your, in running or in any sport really, right? Or anywhere else for that matter. When you reach a certain level of success, maybe with finances, maybe spiritually speaking, right? You have to find someone at your level because those below you will secretly hate on you. There will be this underlying jealousy and competition, constant competition. They'll try to compete with you all the time, so they're not going to be able to see you as an equal. That's why, guys, I made friends with people that were the best also on my team. There was a girl, she was going to the Olympics. She was I think her name is Victoria Andenova or something like that, right? But her mom was in the Olympics, right? And so she was a high jumper. Okay, she was like extremely tall, like 7 feet probably. I don't know, something like that, right? Her mom too, like extremely skinny. She was like that stick walking around. Like all the freshmen would be like, like when they saw her, and like me being like 5'11", right? Like almost 5'11". I I felt like a shrimp next to her, like when you compare, like if you consider the height, right? But anyway, so yeah, I was friends with people for the most part, right? Although there was one girl, she was my best friend, right? But she ended up screwing me over at the end, right? So she wasn't really my friend, guys. She was also an narc, but that's a long story. It's a different story for another video, right? But anyways, so and of course in high school you don't know everything, right? And you still have a lot of learning to do. But I would have done a lot of things differently now, okay? In comparison to then, I wouldn't have been friends with her. So Victoria, right? She was never jealous. She was never jealous of me. She did amazing in whatever she was doing, right? At high jump. I was doing other events, right? I was doing other, I was doing the 800-meter run, right? The 32, the 16, sometimes the 400, okay? Although, yeah, that wasn't mine. But 800, right? For the most part. 800, 1600, and 32, those were mine, okay? And so, yeah, there was no competition there. She was cool. She was a cool girl to hang out with, and I was friends with other people too, like the sprinters, right? We had also another guy that was as good. I believe maybe he went for Walter Dix, I think his name was, okay? And so he also, like, I think he went to the Olympics too, if I'm not wrong. Or he was training, he was as good, he was number one too, right? Basically. So, yeah, and so, yeah, like I said, those people I had no problems with whatsoever, okay? They were cheerful, they were happy, they were soulful, they were cool. They didn't hate on others, right? They had no reason to. So if you find someone who's at your level, they're not going to hate on you. They got their, uh, the same way that you did, basically. So they understand the process, they understand the work. If anything, they'll push you even higher, okay? So you have to find someone who's at your level, okay? Not someone who is below it. Um, while having compassion for those that are trying to get to your level too, right? It's not about the ego or thinking that you're better even though you are better, right? Like, in a sense, you are better, right? Like, there's no denying it. If you're a better runner, you are a better runner, right? Like, there's no denying it, right? But it's not about having a big ego and saying, oh, I'm so good, right? And you're so bad, right? And no, it's not about that, right? That, you know. So, anyways, nothing is fast, right? Also, so good things take time and consistent effort. Guys, I didn't start out running. I was okay. I wasn't bad when I started out running because I had the genetics for it, or maybe because I already ran when I was like a little child, right, with my parents. So, I wasn't new to like exercise or working out, right, or or sports, right? So per se, so I wasn't bad when I started out, but I wasn't the best, guys. So once again, consistency. It's that consistent effort. That it's that sexy grind, right, or unsexy grind. That it's what got me better, right, and took me to the top eventually, guys. So it's most people are not willing to be consistent about the things that they're doing, right? And so consistency is required anywhere, guys. And believe it or not, okay, most businesses, for example, they take a couple of years, 2 years, 3 years to take off, okay, and to break even, right? It means to start making money, right? To get out of debt, if that, maybe even more sometimes, right? And so a lot of them fail, before they get there, right? And so, guys, everything requires time, okay? So good things always take time. Nothing happens fast, okay? We're living in a society that wants everything fast. Fast food, right? Where's it getting us? Fast food. Is it good for you? No, it's not, okay? If you eat enough of that and consistently day in and day out, you're gonna get fat, you're gonna start getting diabetes, you're gonna start having all kinds of health problems, right? There you go, fast, right? Fast food. Fast everything, fast relationship. If you're getting into a fast relationship without building that foundation, same thing can happen to you here, right? You're going to, by going into a relationship fast, you might get into a relationship with a psychopath or a narcissistic individual or someone that's dangerous, right? So yeah, everything takes time, right? Relationships take time. It takes time to get to know someone, right? And of course, if you are a sensitive person, you already feel them, right, on a deeper level. And there are times when you don't really need to get to know someone, but you have to be a very sensitive individual, okay? And you might discover that you've just met your soulmate just by feeling them out, by looking into their eyes, and it will be known. You will have a knowing, like a strong knowing, strong feeling that they're your person, right? So that's very different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your average person who isn't as sensitive, who isn't empathic, right? They need to take their time. They need to get to know someone before jumping into anything, right? Once again, foundation, right? And these things take time too. Building a business, I already mentioned this, right? And getting better at something, building your craft, building your skills, right? It takes time to get good at something, and that's normal. It's normal, and it should be embraced. Just embrace the process, right? And just focus on getting better every day in and day out, okay? And sooner or later you'll get there. Without consistency, without dedication, without that effort that you're putting out daily or almost daily, you will never get anywhere, basically. Okay, and another thing is, right, I'm gonna go back to something that I also learned, okay, is that nobody's going to believe in you more than you believe in yourself. There was a race, okay, and it was a pre-state race, okay, and my coach was like, you're getting, based on the timing, you're getting third place today. And I was like, what? From someone, also, I had a pretty big ego there in high school, right? And someone who was used to getting first places, I was like, no, I'm not getting third place. And my coach just laughed. He was like, well, their time is like their much farther than you. Like I, you know, I'm just telling you like the stats, you know. And I was like, well, I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to know. I'm getting first place, you know. And it was my favorite race. I remember it like yesterday. Okay, we did 4 laps, right? And I was like, okay, my strategy was to run behind the 2 girls, right, that were faster than me, and then eventually to speed up and to you know to beat them, right, to race them. And so I that's what I did. I ran behind them like for maybe 2 laps, right? And on the second lap, I was thinking, why are they going so slow? Like, I want to go faster. Why are they going so slow, right? And on the third lap, I was also thinking, like, why are they going so slow? I want to go faster. Like, so I had the energy, I had the, you know, the inner fire, right? It was burning in me. And like, and they were still so slow, right? And I was like, what is going on? Like, is this a joke or something, you know? And so on the third lap, I just get so fed up, right? On the fourth lap, I mean, I get so fed up and I just run behind them, right? And I start like just racing them like crazy, like a maniac, basically. Okay, I just go so fast because I had so much energy, right? And I knew I could keep this up for 1 lap, right? And I just start sprinting like crazy. My coach just goes wild. He sees this. I raced them by half a lap, guys. Okay, I beat them by half a lap, guys. Okay, it's insane. Okay, the fourth lap, my coach, I remember seeing me like this, right? He just starts jumping, like it just jumping, going crazy, like you know. And it was so funny, like to me, because the entire time I felt like they were going so slow, right? Too slow for me, and I was supposed to, based on time, I was supposed to get like it wasn't even close timing, right? I wasn't even like no, I was nowhere close to their time. Okay, I was a lot farther behind, right? And guys, I ended up beating them by half a lot because of my own belief in myself. Okay, and so just because someone tells you something, right, doesn't mean that it's true. Your own mind is like extremely, extremely powerful. Okay, and so don't let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. You decide this for yourself. You know, your mind is so strong. Okay, and if you believe in yourself, that self-belief can move mountains. Okay, and that's exactly what it did for me during that race. And that's why it's so unforgettable for me, because you know I learned a lot. And it that was that, right? That's what I learned. Let's see. Yeah, and once again, right, the success isn't as sexy as it's yeah, the grind isn't as sexy as it seems. That's what I meant, right? But okay, that grind will build character. Uh, it will strengthen you basically like nothing else. It will give you the true confidence that can never really be taken away from you. Okay, sports can teach you so much, right? They can teach you about other people, but they can also teach you about yourself. Okay, so if you're not giving up, if you're persevering, right? You're testing yourself, you're testing your limits, right? And when you push beyond your limits, when you do something like I did in that race, right? You realize that you're unstoppable, you're extremely powerful, and even more powerful than you believe, right? Even more powerful than other people believe, okay? And so, really, you know, yeah, doing sports or watching sports, other people play sports, it will teach you a lot. It will teach you a lot. So pay attention, always pay attention how people play, and pay attention to, and yeah, and join sports. I don't know, join sports. It's amazing. It's a good. It's you know, it's great for your body and it's great for your mind, right? And for your spirit too. Okay, it says to you like nothing else. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in another video. Please subscribe also if you haven't done so.